Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. I'm your DJ and host, Sam Wilson Jr., and I'm here to bring you the history genre of black music: gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. So come with me as I take you on to a trip to the history destination genre of black music, right now on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Welcome to the bonus episode of the Black Soul Music Experience. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and I have a very special guest on my show, and it's a Valentine's Day episode. Now, this lady that I'm about to introduce to you represents the state of North Carolina. She sings all music genres: classic rock, pop, blues, country, bluegrass, gospel, beach music, and R&B. I got a chance to check out some of her music videos streaming on YouTube. The bad news is it wasn't available on iTunes. But anyway, please help me welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Shannon Stamper. Hi, Shannon. How are you?
Hi, doing great. Thank you so much for this. Really appreciate it.
Okay, welcome to my podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm wearing my red sweatshirt because it's a Valentine's Day episode, so gotta represent.
Yeah, I wore my earrings, if you can see them, with hearts and pink.
Okay, alrighty. So we're gonna have a wonderful conversation. America doesn't know who you are. The world may not know who you are, but I wanted to say thank you for your response. When I posted something on my Alignable, I'm still looking for some singers that I want to interview, and you reached out. And then when I posted, I wanted to do a Valentine's Day episode, you responded back to me. So again, thank you for your reply and welcome.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay. Alrighty. So let us begin, shall we? Now, as I mentioned in the intro, you're from the state of North Carolina. Which town where you were born in the state of North Carolina?
I'm from Mount Airy, North Carolina. Maybe you've heard
Oh.
of it, the home of Andy Griffith.
Well, I've heard of Mount Airy, California. Excuse me, Mount Airy, North Carolina, but I don't remember
That's
about
it.
the North
That's it.
Mount.
Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Now, how far is it from Charlotte or Raleigh? Because I have cousins in North Carolina.
Um, from Charlotte, it's only like 40 minutes, and from Raleigh, it's like 2.5 hours.
Hmm.
Well, I'm thinking about actually where I live now. But Mount Airy's further than that, but not a whole lot more, like another hour.
Okay. Now, were your parents in the music industry or did they had 9 to 5 day jobs?
My father ran his own business, and my mom did the bookwork and everything. And but there was always music in the family at all of our get-togethers, and there's music from both sides of my family, and we just had really wonderful family reunions with lots of music.
Okay. Now, which high school did you go to?
I went to North Surrey High School,
Hmm.
the home of the Greyhounds.
Oh, okay. And which college did you go to?
The University of North Carolina at Greensboro. I chose that school for their music department.
Oh, okay. UNC. Okay.
UNCG.
Okay.
It's hard.
Now, was music your major in college?
I took advantage of. I loved all the music classes I took. I took private voice. I was in just took as many classes as I could to make use of that wonderful music department. But because of the economy, I actually majored in business administration and hoping to find a job more easily, maybe. So, but I really love music is my passion, and I'm so glad I was able to take advantage of their wonderful department at
Hmm.
University of North Carolina at Greensboro.
Okay. Now, how old were you when you started writing songs as well as singing?
Well, my earliest memory of singing, I was a little girl standing on the cinder block in the yard. I was probably around 4 years old. My parents have a video of it too. And I was singing to an imaginary audience. Um, I had a stick in my hand and just singing it, and nobody around that I knew of. But my mom took a video of it.
Hmm.
And then I've been writing. I think that was after college. I got more into the writing.
Now, was being a singer and a songwriter your calling?
I feel that with some of my things that have happened over my lifetime, I feel that it is my calling. I'm hoping so. And one of the things that happened that made me feel that way is I was a flight attendant and with a major airline, and on the plane we had several legs. It was me and another flight attendant, and we had several legs we call them, which is like 6 flights in a day and little hops. And in between the flights, we had cleaners that would come on and they would pick up, anything on the floor. And I noticed something on the floor, several at the end, like the last 3 flights, and we were getting ready to get off the plane. And I said to the flight attendant up front, I said, "What is that crumpled up wrapping paper? What is that?" And I saw something on the floor. She said, "I've noticed that. I don't know why the cleaners didn't get it." She said, "Let's see what it is." And well, to prerequisite that, they a lot of the airline people knew that I'm a singer, and word got around, and I recorded in Nashville, and they knew about that, and I did a song about flying. But anyway, so she picked it up and looked at it, and she said, "This is for you." I said, "For me?" And she said, "Yeah, you're the singer." And it was then she gave it to me. It was this little card. Well, here it is. I've kept it all these years. Little card,
Mm.
and it says, "May this cross remind you of your faith in God. May He light up your days with His love." And it had a treble clef, which made me know it was music, and attached to a cross. And I put it under the lapel of my work coat, and this is it. There's my wings, and on the left side, and the little top of the cross broke off, but God and I know that it's there.
Mm.
And I thought, well, that was special, and I was thankful for that experience, and I'm hoping that that is my calling.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you're working for an airline, and the next question I was about to ask you before your big break as a singer, weren't you one time a major airline flight attendant? And if so, what airline did you work for as a major airline flight attendant?
Yes, I started off with Piedmont Airlines, a small airline out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I stayed with them, and they kept merging with U.S. Air, U.S. Airways, so it just kept getting bigger. I mean, even before we went with U.S. Air or merged with U.S. Air, we were flying to London, England. So it kept growing, growing. And then now it's American Airlines, and I just can't believe where I started from, and now we're the largest airline in the world.
Hmm. Now, you mentioned Piedmont Airlines, and the first time I was on Piedmont Airlines was back in August of 1978. I was visiting my maternal cousins in Hampton and Newport News, Virginia, and I was staying with my late maternal great aunt and great uncle, and they lived in Hampton, Virginia. So,
Well, I'm happy to say that was before I was there.
oh yes.
Go
Now,
ahead. Did you
yes,
have a good flight?
yes, I did. I really had a good flight. Just getting back on the ground. I'm like, I can't.
Uh, do you remember what type of aircraft it was?
I don't remember what type of
I was
aircraft it
just
was.
curious.
So, me growing up, my first time looking at those planes when I was living in the Bronx, I see those airplanes going flying by. So, my first experience was being on an airplane. It was my late mom and her friend. We went to Jamaica, West Indies, and we was on Air Jamaica. We was leaving from JFK Airport in Queens, New York, and we was just going through those mechanical things. Where you go indoors, you stay indoors, you just walk through, and then you go right in through the plane. But when you go into Jamaica, you just getting off that plane. It's like, oh, there's the stairs I've been dreaming of, just going down the steps. So
Ooh.
my first experience being on that plane, it was like when you up in that air and getting down on the ground. I'm like, I can't hear. I can't hear. I, just getting off the just getting off the plane. I'm like, I can't hear. So that was my first experience of being on an airplane from 1973 up until 1978. So that was my first experience of being on that plane.
Did you like it otherwise?
I did like it at first, and but I was just curious because me growing up, I'm looking at these planes, and then I'm looking at these Amtrak trains. I'm looking at all of the subway trains that I have lived around the corner or just 5 or 10 blocks away. I was just curious about my surroundings. Just wanted to see the world, around the cities. That is.
I'm sure you enjoyed your destination.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I've been there too. That's fun.
Oh, yes. Now, when you was doing a major airline flight attendant as a singer, and if so, what was the passengers' reaction when you was doing your singing on the airplane?
I always loved to sing and always did it on the side. My first band, I was based in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was in a band there called City Limits Band. That was my first one, and so anyway, now I forgot what you asked me. I'm so sorry.
Now, me growing up before your time, there used to be airline company called National Airlines, and they used to have that commercial back in 1973, and we're talking about you being as a singing flight attendant. And there was a commercial from National Airlines, and that jingle was, "I'm National, fly me." Go to any destinations and and then everything. So they'll show their names and said, "Hi, I'm Jackie. Fly me to St. Louis." And I kind of reminds me of an episode from Sanford and Son when Fred's relatives had passed away and they left him with the money and they have to travel to St. Louis by airplane. So then Lamont was telling Fred, he said, "You don't have to be scared, just get on the plane." Remember that commercial? "Hi, I'm Jackie. Fly me to St. Louis." And then Fred said, "Okay, you get on the plane, you get Jackie, and I'll meet you in St. Louis."
That was a good show.
hmm Now, growing up, who were some of your favorite singers?
um, Started out, I would say Patsy Cline. Just love Patsy Cline, and then Loretta Lynn and Patty Loveless, which the two of them are related, and I'm related to them. My mom was a Ramey before she married, and so was Loretta Lynn's mother. And then Patty Loveless was a Ramey before she married. So we're distantly related. So they're my favorites, of course. And then I loved Linda Ronstadt. I just like every type of music that I was listening to and liked at the time. It seemed like there was a song by Linda Ronstadt because she did rock, pop, country, and she sang some Spanish English mix, which I love to do too. And so I followed her through all those genres, and she did a recording with the Nelson Riddle Orchestra, like 30s, 40s music and classics that I just fell in love with and learned every word of that. And she was just so influential. And but then there's so many. Aretha Franklin, I just love her, and that was one of the first things I did at one of our family reunions. I just belted out Aretha Franklin. Everybody's like, "What? Where did that come from?" And then I like let's see, Tina Turner, and let's see, so much. And then there's the rockers. I just go through all these different moods, and like Janis Joplin and Steve Perry with Journey, and Axl Rose with Guns N' Roses, and also Led Zeppelin. There's so many that I love.
Uh-huh. Wow, I didn't know that you were related to Loretta Lynn and Patty Loveless because
Yeah,
I'm watching some of these award shows as well as some of the other ones. I said, I didn't know that Loretta Lynn was related to Crystal Gale, the one with the long hair.
yeah, they're
I, you
sisters.
know,
I'm related to her.
yes. One of my
Yeah,
favorite songs from Crystal Gale was called "Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue." That I
uh,
call it, country with a jazz to it. So
yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
a good one. Uh-huh.
wow, I didn't know you were related to it. Wow. Now, who are your musical influences?
Pikeville, Kentucky. I'm sorry.
Who
Oh,
are
my
your
music
musical
influence.
influences?
Um, well, the people I named, and also in my family uh, reunions and things, I always loved hearing my aunts and whole family performing, and I would jump in there with them too. And um, I have two aunts and other members of the family in the Library of Congress for bluegrass music and folklore, and I have a bluegrass CD as well, and just I just love. They were big influences on me, and I got the pleasure of and so thankful that I got to record with my Aunt Melrose before she passed away, and I still
Mm-hmm.
have her voice. So when I do the songs with the recordings, I feel like I'm still with her.
Mm. Now, you've toured both locally and abroad. Which countries have you went to perform at? Which country that you love the most that you get so much reception?
um, well, I've performed at PopCom in Cologne, Germany, a big music convention, and the old San Juan Hotel, and I did a Spanish English mix there, and did some Selena songs. Oh, that's somebody else I love. and and then I guess then Canada, and but my and then in the islands like St. Thomas at the Treasure Island Hotel, and then but my favorite I think would be Grand Cayman Islands. Um, there they played my songs on the radio, and they had me on the television advertising. I got to open for Tanya Tucker there, and then they had a big thing called Taste of Cayman and invited me, and I sang at that, and just had lots of good experiences there, and ended up writing a song for them with a guy in Nashville, Tennessee, and called Cayman Country, and they told
Mm.
me it was a hit.
Hmm. Now, speaking of country singer Tanya Tucker, what's it like being on stage with the one and only Tanya Tucker?
Well, I opened for her, so I wasn't on stage with her, but I was on the same stage she performed on. And then I did get to meet her backstage and met her, the musicians, and so that was nice. She was into the men quite a bit. Didn't want to talk to me that much, but it was okay. She was still great, and the musicians were nice to meet too.
Mm. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, you sing all music genres. How's your singing voice matches those music genres?
I feel like um, all these different genres kind of have different feels and emotions in them, and like the blues, of course, if you want to sing the blues, and that's the one emotion. And although they have happy blues songs too, which I like to do, and then the sometimes you just want to rock, and country music tells the stories, the wonderful stories, and just there's so many emotions and feelings that, and then the type of music just happens. It seems.
Now, I got a chance to check out your videos on YouTube, including the love songs, which includes I Might Run to You, Mr. Right, Your Tender Love, and Crazy for, I should say, Crazy Me for Loving You, Local Yo. Tell us about those songs behind them.
Um, well, I was single for a long, long time, and my plan was to get married at like 25, have two kids, and a wonderful husband, of course. And but that then I realized later on it wasn't the big plan. It might have been my plan, but not the big plan. And I also realized that I want the big plan. So whatever, I started praying that I could have, I would be happy with God's will for me, and it did make me happy. And I had a lot of wonderful things happen in my life, and so lots of heartbreaks and things with the meeting the wrong ones, or but it's all experiences, and but those songs, there's a lot of where I've went through my relationships, and so there's love songs like the one where you may break up, and but you still want to, you still have the love inside you, and so there's I might run to you if somebody gave you a hint that they wanted to see you again. And then there's crazy me for loving you, and then um, Mr. Right was the one that you thought he was Mr. Right, but he turned out that he was not, and but you just got to hang in there and shake it off, and maybe Mr. Right will come along.
Mm-hmm.
You'll love again, is what it says.
Yes.
And then
N-
the overall love song has been for me. Um, but I want to say first that I'm thankful for that I did meet a good man, and and married later on, and so now I can write love songs about a good man. But the one song that is very special to me is "Your Tender Love," because it shows the love for someone that we all can love. And to me, it's about Jesus Christ. And it's got very special lyrics. And the more I thought about the lyrics, I was thinking, this is not about an earthly man. This is about our Heavenly Father. And it's called Your Tender Love.
All right. Amen. Now, since this is a Valentine's Day episode, which some of your favorite love songs that you wish you wanted to cover or remake?
Um, I recorded songs in Nashville, Tennessee, and had like top musicians, and they were so awesome. And but there was the one song, which is "Your Tender Love," that the musicians, like my first thought about the song was I wanted a simple guitar, like picking a beautiful guitar in the background and sing the song in kind of a simple thing. But then the musicians, they were all so good and they all felt the spiritual feeling of the song and they just oh I couldn't say no to them. I was like, do it. And so it was like James Horn that played with Garth Brooks in Central Park and a guy Jack Daniels on guitar and Rick Boyer. Oh, they were Doyle Grisham. All those studio musicians were so awesome. And but I'm planning to have and working on one with the guitar player in our band. Um, he's a great guitar player, Owen Brown, and you may hear his name in the future because he's awesome and he's helping me out to get that first thought I had on that song to have the beautiful guitar picking in it.
Mm. Now, who came up with the name of the band Speedbird?
That came from the pilots. Howard Hedda was the first. He's a pilot, just so talented. I'm so thankful to be with these talented musicians, and but he was the pilot when I met him, and but he did music on the side, and then he started the band Speedbird, and then Eddie Jackson, he flew with Eddie Jackson, another pilot, and Eddie is so talented. Went to Berkeley School of Music, and you just never know who you're working with, what talents they have. And he was just awesome. And Howard it added him to the band right away, and then later on they added me. I was so thankful, and it's called Speedbird, and it's spelled Speedbyrd. Now there's 8 members in our band, and it's from the tail of the airplane, the Piedmont Airlines airplane. I have a charm also.
Mm.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's the little Speedbird. That's where it came from.
Now, here's a question that I always ask my guests: living or dead, which singer you wish you wanted to meet or to perform with?
Um, I think it would be Tina Turner. I just love her energy, everything. She just, her emotion and the dancing, everything, and just, I think it would be the blast. And our band, we do a tribute to Tina Turner, and I do Proud Mary, and I started off and I say, we're going to do it like Tina does, Proud Mary.
It's like the intro say, we're going to make it nice and easy.
Yeah,
And at
that's
the
it.
end, we're going to make it too nice and
Nice.
rough.
Yeah, that's it. The way Tina does. Proud
Mhm.
Mary.
Now, here on the Black Soul Music Experience, I always ask my guests who is the top 10 artist of all time. But since this is a Valentine's Day episode, we're going to be doing the top 10 love songs of all time. So I'm going to start with my top 10 love songs, and then after that, I'll leave it in your hands. So I'm going to start with my top 10 songs. I'm going to start like a top 10 countdown. So I'm going to start off with number 10. Number 10 is called Wildflower, and the original song was performed by Skylark coming out of Canada. Now, that was an integrated band coming out of Canada, and it was discovered and produced by David Foster. And they had their version of Wildflower, top 10 hit on Billboard's soul single charts that came out in the summer of 1973. And on the same year, the New Birth did their version of Wildflower, 6 minute long. And I put that as a tie because when you think about that love song that, you know, you're talking about, blue lights in the basement, the slow grind and everything, people love one of those versions. So I put that as a tie. Number 10, I put down By the Time I Get to Phoenix. Now, I put down two versions of it. One from the late Glenn Campbell did his in 1968, top 10 hit on Billboard's country singles charts. But then 1969, the late Isaac Hayes did it his version, and that was from his LP Hot Buttered Soul. He's known for doing remakes of the original songs. And as I mentioned, By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Isaac Hayes took that song, he stripped it and stretched it as far as wide as the eye can see. He turned it into 18 minutes. First, he started segue. He'll start rapping or talking, and then he'll segue into the song. He was just telling you about the name of the song, the intro of the song. So even though the song was written by Jimmy Webb, Isaac Hayes took it his way. He said, I'm going to bring it down to Soulsville. He's going to tell it like it is, the intro of the song, what the song was all about. And then the segue in to that song. So 18 minutes long. So Black America wasn't ready for this type. But when it hit you, it's like, that LP, Hot Buttered Soul, went gold, and it sold over 1,000 copies in print. So when you talk about those two versions, original from Glenn Campbell and then later Isaac Hayes, masterpiece. Wonderful. So I put that at number 10. Number 9, I put down Kiss and Say Goodbye by the Manhattans. It was a number one hit on both Billboard's soul singles charts and on Billboard's Hot 100 pop singles charts. And that was number one for 2 weeks back in the spring of 1976. So that tells you behind the story of, baby, I won't see you no more. So you just move on. So that was like a sad song, but it became a hit. And that's from the Manhattans. So that was their top 10 hit. Number 8, I put down The Lady in My Life by the late Michael Jackson. And that was from the Thriller LP. So this was the best ballad that I love. When I listen to so many black radio stations, they will throw on The Lady in My Life, Michael Jackson. Top 10 hit, even though it wasn't a top 10 hit on Billboard's R&B Black Singles charts or the Hot 100 Pop Singles charts, but it became a favorite for black radio when they introduced us the Quiet Storm. That was the black radio format they will play at night. Some will start at around 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock, and they will play that late at night. So I put that at number 8. Number 7, I put down If Loving You Was Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right. Now, there's 3 versions of it. The original one from the late Luther Ingram, it was number 1 on Billboard's Soul Singles charts back in July of 1972, and it was number 4 on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts. And then Millie Jackson did her remake, 9 minutes long, nominated for a Grammy at the 1975 Grammy Awards. And then country singer Barbara Mandrell did her version of the song. So all those 3 versions, I love those different versions, from the original one of the late Luther Ingram to the remakes from Barbara Mandrell and Millie Jackson. So I put that at number 7. Number 6, If You Don't Know Me By Now, You Will Never Ever Know Me. That was from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, featuring Teddy Pendergrass on lead. That was number one on Billboard Soul Singles charts back in November of 1972 for 1 week, and it was number five on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts. When that song came out in 1972, I thought it was Harold Melvin, the lead singer, was singing, but it was the other way around. So Harold Melvin was in charge, and then Teddy Pendergrass was doing the lead singing. So all those tracks, I was like, "You mean Teddy? That's not Howard Melvin." So that was a number one hit. So rest in peace to Harold Melvin and Mr. Teddy Pendergrass. Number, let me see, we're up to number four. Me and Mrs. Jones, the late Billy Paul, number one hit on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts and on Billboard's Soul Singles charts. For 3 weeks back in December of 1972, I loved this song so much, I just couldn't get over it. I'll be singing in the car, just playing it and everything. But as you know, it's like an extramarital love song. So at first, I didn't know about it when it first came out, but then I just couldn't help it. I loved the song. I loved the melody. I loved MFSB orchestra in the background, just soothing, mellow harmonies and everything. So we will put me and Mrs. Jones at number five. Number four, I'm going to put another tie. Tonight's The Night is from Mr. Rod Stewart, number one on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts for 8 consecutive weeks in December of 1976. And I put that a tie with the Eagles. I can't tell you why. I love this song. You just hear the synthesizers and everything. And I even saw the music video where they were doing the rehearsing. Then he got into the song. So I love that song. And that's when so many Light FM stations across the country, they started playing some of the newer sound. Back then you had those elevator music, but when you got the slow jams on Light FM stations, let me tell you, I love that song so much. You hear that synthesizer and the guitar flowing in. It was bluesy, soulfully, blue-eyed soul good. So I put that as a tie. So with number four with Rod Stewart and the Eagles. Number three, I put down Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by the late Otis Redding. It was his number one hit back in the spring of 1968, and this was released after he was killed in that plane crash in December of 1967. He won a Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Performance, and the family had accepted the award on their behalf. Number two, I put down Float On by the Floaters. That was number one on Billboard's Soul Singles charts back in August of 1977 for 5 weeks. You hear the intro, you hear the guys saying their sun sign and everything. Now, I love the original one that had like 11 minutes, and compare that to the shortened version, for radio, like 4.5 minutes. But I prefer the 5 minute and the 11 minute version of that song. Number one, My Girl by The Temptations. Number one back on January 31st, 1965 for 5 weeks, coming out of Motown. So it was a number one hit for The Temptations. That was everyone's favorite song, not just in the radio stations, but at the clubs. So wherever club I go to, or whatever function I go to, and yes, I'm a DJ, so I play some songs. They would come to me and say, "Hey, you got some Motown?" I said, "Yes." What type of Motown song you want? I said, "Give me My Girl by The Temptations." Okay, I'll put that on for you. And everything. So that was my top 10 love songs. Now, Shannon, I don't know which one of your favorite love songs, but you can take it from there.
I haven't thought about what my top 10 are, but what comes to my mind right away is All of Me Loves All of You. That was, we had that, my nephew played that in our wedding, and that's a special song for me and my husband by John Legend. And then at the end of our wedding, we had White Wedding played. So that's a special song for us. And my nephew sang it, and he said, "Hey, little auntie," instead of he changed it to auntie. But anyway, it was fun. And then there's so many. When I Fall in Love, that's one of the ones Linda Ronstadt did with the Nelson Riddle Orchestra that I love so much. And Let's Stay Together, Al Green, I love so much. And we joke, my husband and I, that our love song is "You May Be Right." I may be crazy, but it just may be a lunatic you're looking for.
Oh.
There's so many, but that's some of my favorites.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I had enjoyed that. So that's a way to celebrate Valentine's Day and everything. Now, I see in the background you have besides the banner, you have some of the keyboards or anything setting up.
Yeah. Um, oh, you can see that because on my screen I don't see it.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, this is what my wonderful husband gave me, this poster, and thought it would be good for people to see Shannon Stamper music if you want to hear my music on YouTube. And if you want to hear Your Tender Love, we can do that for you.
Yes, I would love to hear it.
All right. I'm going to let you hear the studio musicians that put their all into it and did a fantastic job.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear a selection. It's from the band.
Okay, are we ready? When you hear these words, you'll know why I was thinking it's about a higher power. Your tender love, I've wanted so long. Once I was weak, now I'm so strong, filled with hope, courage, and love through and through. I'll never find a more sweet, more tender love than you. Your tender love has given me wings and lifting me up, fill my cup till my heart sings. I truly believe, oh, I believe somewhere above I have an angel who knew how I needed your tender love. Your gentle voice It speaks to my soul. One word from you, I reach and it goes. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, I'm so glad. Thankful to be always returning your faithful and tender love you've given me. I truly believe, oh, I believe somewhere above I have an angel who knew how I needed your tender love. Your tender love. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love that song so much. I'll just be bopping. So, don't mind me because when I be in the car with my family relatives, when I hear something, I'll just be bopping. When I'm in church, I'll be just bopping. When I listen to jazz, I'll be bopping. So that's me growing up. So, as I always say, music brings people together. It heals the minds and soothes the souls. It unites
And that
us,
was thrilling for
and
me to
it
see you bopping.
always. Thank you so much. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for being here on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and thank you for that song, Just the Way, just to close out the episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samuel, so much.
Now, before we go, where can we follow you for any upcoming events, and where can we follow you on social media?
I always let people know on Facebook, and I make it public our events coming up. We have a Valentine's Day show in Mooresville, North Carolina, at Shoals on Raleigh School Road, and but also on you can hear my music on YouTube with Shannon Stamper Music, and would love for you to listen. I hope you enjoy and subscribe to it.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much. Download all of the favorite love songs from all of our favorite artists that we have talked about on this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Visit iTunes.com, Spotify.com, or purchase a CD at Amazon.com. Make sure you follow Shannon Stamper. Look for her on Facebook. And make sure you check out all of her videos and songs streaming online right now on YouTube. Just go to the YouTube homepage and type in Shannon Stamper Music. And yes, she has a Valentine's Day concert coming up, so make sure that you check her out. If you're not doing anything during that week of Valentine's Day, now is your chance to get into some love spirit with Shannon Stamper. You'll love it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check out this episode, please subscribe by going to the link. The link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s. Don't forget to add the S to the end, -studio. And I will be posting this episode on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have a hard time getting on to riverside.fm, then please become a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Go to the Patreon homepage, type in the name of my podcast, the Black Soul Music Experience podcast, and check out all of the audio and video podcast clips. And we will be posting this episode coming in just in time before Valentine's Day on YouTube. And please pass it on. Thank you for joining me as I close out this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Well, that's about it for this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thank you for joining me, and please tune in next week for an all-new episode. The Black Soul Music Experience podcast is sponsored by the support of listeners like you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe by going to riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s-studio. And don't forget to check out my audio podcast episodes by becoming a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And also check out my video podcast episodes by subscribing to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And please leave your comments, feedbacks, and replies by going to my Facebook homepage. Visit facebook.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And you can also tweet me on X, aka Twitter, at Sam Wilson Jr. 66. As always, parting, remember this: reach for the top and your dreams will come true, and it can happen to you. From all of us, take care, God bless. Thanks for listening, have a good week, and please be safe.